Alright, so Rogue has been out already for a few hours, and I want to talk a little bit about my first impressions with the character, and also get shafted right here trying to get a couple more copies because my gambling addiction can't stop. I can't stop. So let's do a multi really quickly, and then we'll go, fuck me, and then we'll go talk a little bit about my first impression, how I think we should be investing in her right now, right? If it's worth pulling or not, and a little bit on my first thoughts on this new character that we just got, aka Rogue. So first of all, she's a really good character from what I've been seeing, right? From what we've been testing, in contrast to other cooldown reduction characters. So for example, while running Declare Wife or Rogue on a similar composition, grow Naga instead of Bunnies just to test simple stuff, right? What I was seeing is that Rogue, even on her optimal position, on the 4th position, buffing Red Hood and Alice is not that different from a Declare Wife buffing Red Hood and Alice with the pierce damage. Of course, they are doing more damage, but it's not a big difference. Now, couple important things to know. This is auto. I refuse to manual snipers in this game. And the second thing is even on other teams, for example, with SBS, there is not that much difference. In fact, with SBS, Rogue, I was doing more damage with Rogue rather than using the Killer Wipe, which is pretty cool to see. Now, we knew already that having cooldown reduction was going to be enough to be a good unit. We just didn't know how much or how useful she was going to be, really, right? Now, so the important thing right now when it comes to the cooldown reduction is, okay, she is great. What is she going to be placing, more or less? What characters are going to be moving up or down? And the thing to note is that she has the same cooldown reduction as the Killer Wife, meaning she's already a great unit, just because of that. Her buffs are good as well. Not big numbers, but they do buff the characters enough. She is going to be replacing volume for most raids. There are multiple situations where I will not pull for her still. Like, it depends really on your account. For example, if you're a new player without cooldown reduction, of course you want to pull for her. But if you already have most of the cooldown reduction units built and you're free to play and don't have a lot of resources, are you going to be pulling for Rogue, or are you going to be saving for the 2 water DPSs or for the anniversary character, right? It really depends on the situation for your account. If you can afford 1 copy, I will say it's worth it. 100%. She's gonna be used basically on every single raid, just because the CDR is that good, plus her buffs are decent. They are not great, right? It's not like anything amazing, but they are pretty nice. So let's talk a little bit about investment on her, possible team compositions, where she's gonna be placed, etc. Starting with the investment itself, again, this is a day 1 review, so take into consideration that I will make a separate guide in a couple days after we've tested a lot more and properly seen how she does, right? For now, from what I've seen, skill 1 is the only thing you need to worry about. Just like Declare Wife, you can go 844. I will say level 7 might be enough for the cooldown reduction. You might have some downtimes at level 8, and you might need to go to level 9. It depends on if you have her overloaded and what cube you're using with her. Because if she has a couple lines of max ammo plus Bastion or Resilience, she will be able to have her cooldown reduction no problem since the first rotation, right? So no issues with that. If you don't have any overloaded gear, like is my case, I had a couple situations where she was having like a 2-second delay, which is not super weak considering, once again, no overload, no stars, no investment, just a skill 1 at level 8. So all in all, you only need to worry about this skill 1. You could be investing into skill 2 and skill 3 depending on the team composition you want to use. For example, if you want to use her on a guillotine team, on a 2B team, must any max HP characters, of course investing in her burst is going to be good. Same for this second skill for coin flip. If you want the extra attack damage, which is of course going to benefit you always, right? Even though it's only for 2 characters, you want to go also on the skill 2 a little bit higher. In my opinion, an 844 is more than enough at release right now. It also depends on your team compositions and how much of a tryhard you are in solo raids, because for people who are really into solo raids, getting that skill 2 to 7 is gonna be extra damage for your main DPS characters, right? So it's always good. For me, as a casual, 844, more than enough right now. When it comes to her gear, I would not recommend overloading her. It's not high priority, but if you do, it's gonna be like Declare Wife. You wanna get, of course, your max ammunition and then your elemental lines here and there, since elemental content is what we're going to be going in the future, including supports. In the future, you want to have 5 teams with 5 supports with cooldown reductions that will be on elemental advantage to deal more damage, because that's how we're going to be min-maxing all the content in the future, like it or not, just like they did in Destiny Child, right? Which is fair enough, honestly, all things considered. So when it comes to that, max ammunition and elemental damage are the only 2 things you really need to be worrying about. It's like the only 2 lines I will care. If you get charge speed, of course it's going to be good. Charge damage per se is not as important for this specific character. Her damage is not as good, right? But charge speed, elemental, and of course max ammunition. When it comes to the cube, whatever you have available. We've reached a point where we're waiting for the update on the cubes, right? We're waiting for Shift Up to finally do this update into the cubes and see what we're getting. Until then, Resilience and Bastion are the only good cubes for PvE. There are some exceptions, like for example the Quantum or the Healing, depending on what you're doing and what characters you have. But for the most part, it's Resilience and Bastion. So in my case, I'm using Resilience right now. If I were to overload her and get enough max ammunition, I would switch to a Bastion, because her reload is not that bad at the 2.33. It's kind of slow, but you can deal with that. So that's it about the investment. That's it about how I feel about the unit. Let's talk a little bit about possible team compositions, because we were talking about, of course, Crown Naga on the test, because it's the simplest stuff, right? To be comparing stuff with, to be comparing units with. But what about her? Well, let's start with, she needs to be on position 2 or 4, right? Possibly 4, since it's easier to put your DPSs in there. There's gonna be a lot of possible compositions, starting with the mono Electro that a lot of people are talking about, thanks to everyone's favorite treasure, Exia. So now that you have Exia and you have Rogue, you can put Blank in here and you can go with your DPSs, no issues, aka Summer Anis and Ain. And this is gonna be a team composition that's gonna be worked out of the box. You could even be going full Electro by removing your heals. I personally like having heals. I'm someone who is a pussy. I like my heals, so you will never see me running this. This is a good team, right? It's full Electro. Of course, we don't have enough Electro units to be putting them all here. You will be putting them on different teams, but if you were to run this works depending on the boss. To me, I like having heals, so I will most likely be putting Blank always with Rogue. The good thing about this as well is that you can run a lot more team compositions thanks to this now. You could be running a normal private composition with Sameranis and someone else now that you have this. Because since you have your position 1 and your position 2, you could be running a last bullet composition, again depending on what characters you have, but with your Brief and with your Sameranis and someone else as the second DPS. Could be another Electric, could be anything else, right? So she's gonna be working as well in this type of compositions. Also, something important to note is that she does not need to be paired with Blank. Of course, they will work amazingly together, just because Blank is that good when paired with someone with 777, but she can work on any team. She's a cooldown reduction unit, just like the Killer Wife, just like Glitter, just like Volume. She is a lot better than Volume, like I was saying, comparing on the tier list for the cooldown reduction units. She will be most likely at the same level as Dorothy when it comes to the tier list. I am actually happy that Shift Up is doing units that are good, that they are not shit. Because remember that most of the limited characters we were getting before, or a lot of these units we were getting, were really bad. Like when we talk about some of the recent characters we've gotten, Clay and Bay, right? These 2 units are absolutely disgusting. They are shit. Do they have like a super specific niche usages? Yeah, but not that good, right? And when we talk about other recent units, or not even recent, but like in these last releases, right, last year or whatever, Aid, you have Sui, even though she has some niches, you have Moran, you have much of the other old Christmas units. Even some of the recent releases when it comes to abnormal characters have been losing already a lot of usage. So I'm happy that the recent characters from Evangelion, ReZero, etc., it looks like they are trying to make them better. Same for the Summer Limiteds. And not even Summer Limiteds, even normal characters like Ain are starting to be really, really powerful. And even the newly added 2 water DPSs, Phantom and Quincy, look pretty strong on paper, right? So we're getting characters that finally have usage. It's not like, oh, it's either one unit every once in a while and then really bad characters with good design. No, we're getting decent units overall, which is always appreciated. So that's said about the team composition. She can be everywhere. She does not need to be with Blank, but of course she's gonna shine the most when paired with her. The most important thing about Rogue, however, and my reason as to why I would not be using her a lot, is remembering to put her on the 2nd or 4th position. You might be thinking that's stupid, but I'm someone who has a shit memory. I still don't know the rotation of Special Interception. After 2 years of playing every single day and helping people on stream, right? I don't know the rotation. If you ask me what boss is today and what boss is coming tomorrow, I don't know. So, all that said, I think it's worth pulling one copy if you have the resources saved for anniversary. If you actually have already tickets or enough gems to guarantee getting whatever they're preparing. Because if they're giving us these units right now, which look all pretty good, all 3 of them, it means the anniversary unit is gonna be completely busted. So 100%, please save 200 tickets. Use the remaining tickets, use the remaining gems, pull for whoever you like, but save some tickets so you can be ready for whatever meta-breaking character is coming next month. That said, that's gonna be it for my first impressions on Rogue. Pretty quick video. We're gonna be live when this video is up, so come and say hello, have a great time playing new game Ash Echoes CBT. All that said, have a good day, bosses. Love you all. Good luck with your pool generates. I'll see you on the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。
天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。